Welcome to Indie Film Podcast. I'm Victoria.
And I am Chuck. This week we're looking at some of the legal hurdles you might run into on a film set, like some red flags you should probably avoid that you might see in a contract, or how AI could be changing image releases.
But first, we would like to talk about this week's sponsor, which is the Indie Film Podcast newsletter. That's right, we have a newsletter available, which means that all the items that we talk about, such as my favorite shot list or Chuck's actual audition session file for editing this podcast, are available to you for free. You can go to indiefilmpodcast.com to sign up.
On to the legal talk. To help us, we have special guest Ellen Smith. Thanks for joining us. She's going to share a unique perspective that she has as a filmmaker as well as a lawyer.
You likely know her from popular shows such as What Would You Do? But Ellen is no stranger to indie films, features, and shorts, from dramas to Friday the 13th films. Let's be honest, Ellen, you might be on every single IMDb page there is.
Oh my goodness.
Could be. So can you share some red flags? Let's start there, Ellen. Can you share some stories about some red flags and contracts that you've heard of? Or
Absolutely.
Maybe even a film that gets the writing department didn't get the legalities correct?
That would never happen in film. They always do their research.
And obviously, I'm not your lawyer, so this is not legal advice, right? Do I have to say that on every?
I don't know. You let
feel
us know.
like you're not a lawyer unless you say that.
Yeah, so red flags. Red flags, especially for actors, have been coming up a lot in actor contracts. And we've been seeing them, but probably the biggest one, which is the topic of the day, right? We're talking about AI. We're talking about having your image in perpetuity. And that is one of the biggest red flags I think people need to look out for.
So when you say,
days.
like, they have your image in perpetuity, like the contract tells them we own you, like Conglamo from Rocco's Modern Life, or?
I mean, essentially, yeah. Like, you are having to focus on, reading your releases that you're signing when you're on set. And it used to be that was the traditional way of doing it. We own your image in perpetuity throughout the universe. And that was okay, because we didn't know, as lawyer, you didn't know when I'm drafting these for people, you didn't know what type of technology was going to be developed.
Yeah.
And so they specifically did it. We did it on purpose, because it's like, well, we need to make sure that streaming platforms are covered, or, different things that we didn't know would happen. However, I don't think people predicted this AI. I mean, some people did,
Yeah.
But
Some people knew.
some people knew.
Looking at you, creators.
Careful out there. So, yeah, we actually we were trying to distribute our feature film stocked into Table Rock, and we had an issue where it was like we owned the rights of this project in perpetuity throughout the universe. It literally said that in the contract, which is really funny.
I drafted it before.
We didn't sign it, but it was one of those things too where they owned the rights to sequels for the IP then, which was a little terrifying, because when you think about that, I mean, I don't know what the ramifications would be, but if we get a whole bunch of AI made films, they might be able to leverage the image releases that we had the actors sign.
Oh, absolutely.
And then make an entire stocked into Table Rock 2 through a computer system and do their best to make money on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a real concern, honestly. And I think about like the commercials or different things that I've done in years past, and just having that, phrase, because you signed it. I mean,
yeah.
And why not? You got your $50 for the day.
Nice.
This was important.
You got paid $50? What kind of sets are you working on?
They were big. I mean, don't expect that. But so that honestly does happen. And I actually did have a client in recent years who used to live, locally, moved down to the big city, Los Angeles, and they had used his image as on a commercial for like what not to do.
Oh.
And he's like a professional actor down in Los Angeles.
Oh, my gosh.
And he was like, this is hurting my career. What can we do about it? And I'm just looking at the release. I'm like,
Sorry?
Nothing.
Dang. So basically they made him look bad on camera.
Correct.
Directly relating to what his profession is, like how not to act.
Yes. Well, it was more like how not to make media or local commercials.
Oh my gosh.
That still feels directly related to his career.
I agree.
That's
and
unfortunate.
I did send a demand letter, and they did take it down.
Oh,
They didn't
nice.
have to, though.
Oh, nice.
Well, I'm glad that they listened.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe it's just because you're intimidating in letters.
I'm sure it is.
That's it.
And in person. Like, I'm just, an intimidating person.
Well, good. Get that removed. And that's also unfair, I'm going to point out, too, because if you are an actor and you're acting in a spot and it's something like that, not how to do media, that's not your job when you're in the acting role. You're not writing anything.
No.
You're just reading the lines and you're reading them believably, and but that could damage your reputation if you do something like that, because then people might associate you with bad acting when it's like, no, I was acting well to get this exact thing accomplished.
The really frustrating thing is it had nothing to do with that.
Oh,
they
okay.
just found some old news footage, and they're like, oh, yeah, we can take this, we can scrub it, we can make it look bad.
Oh, my
So
gosh.
it wasn't even the basis. I don't even remember what it was advertising originally.
Oh, my gosh.
But it wasn't even the basis of the commercial. It wasn't like I'm trying, because that would make sense a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was something complete. It was like, advertising for dog food or something.
It was something
my
he
God.
literally did not consent to doing.
Correct.
That suddenly
Dang.
they were like, well, you did this other commercial, but now we can reuse this to emphasize how poorly you did on something.
Yeah.
Whether or not he did poorly, you can always cut things to look bad. Didn't you do that before, Chuck? When we had
Cut
Bradley.
something badly? No, never. I've never made a bad edit in my entire life. No, just kidding. You can go back, look through the history of some of my editing, and you can find some stuff that was not the best.
Bradley Elliott Norton, your brother, was
Yes.
on and was talking about how if you cut it right, you could make Michael Jordan look like the worst basketball player. And so you did find him missing a shot.
Oh,
and
yes,
put it
yes.
on.
We did that on a vertical video
Yes.
where the joke was that you can actually, regardless of somebody's skill level, you can, if they do it enough, you can find bad examples of them. And so I did find an example of Michael Jordan bricking a wide open layup, and he shot a lot of shots. So you can find him bricking shots, not as many as like some of the other players, but it was wild.
That really is fascinating. I'd done this, it was a reality show where I was just auditioning for it, and it was called My Man Can. And so it was this whole thing. We got up to network. I made my husband do it. So that was it was sort of torturous because he would have to do all the horrible things.
Oh, nice.
I would just have to bet on whether he could.
Oh, this sounds
And
like a
one of
fun
them-
show.
Oh, that's a
I thought it
delightful
was-
show.
I thought it was awesome.
Also, shout out to your husband. Good job. Good sport.
So it was like one of them was cockroaches, and the studio was, interviewing me and said, "Well, how many cockroaches do you think, he could eat?" And I was like,
Eat?
"Yeah, because that was the thing, right?" And so I'm like,
This fear factor from
so
the
it was
early
like Fear Factor,
2000s?
but I didn't have to do the things. I just had to bet on what he would.
Okay, what was the over-under?
And so I was like, 50. I think he could eat 50. He's very strong. He has a strong stomach. I feel like he could do this.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, we ended up getting up to network approval. And then they sent us the contract.
Oh, dang.
no.
Did he have to eat cockroaches, though? We didn't get to that part.
No,
Okay.
because we couldn't sign the contract.
Oh,
What did
okay.
the
The
contract
contract
say?
is this thick.
Oh.
And it essentially could make them change anything about you. They could change you. They could make you look horrible. They could, just do all of these things.
Wait,
You
like
could-
right to alter your appearance or right to cut it in a way that, like, can they tell you to cut your hair or can they tell you we're going to cut this so you look like you're demonic and horrendously abusive
It was
to your
basically
husband?
cutting the footage that they get from you.
Okay.
To make you look like you're abusive, to make you look, just changing things, rewording things in your mouth, like doing, it was that thick.
Whoa.
And I was going through it and I was still hopeful, because I was just like, come on, I want to be on a reality show. And I went through and I went through the first 3 or 4 and I was like, yeah, we can't.
No, I suppose with your law firm, too, you got to be careful with how you're presented.
Probably, yeah.
In the public. And that's wild. And all you indie filmmakers out there, I think it's kind of fun sometimes when you have a friend or a family member that has zero clue on how editing works and they will believe things like on reality shows or oh my gosh, isn't that such a horrible person? And as a filmmaker, you're thinking to yourself, well, it kind of depends about how many camera angles and then when they switched camera angles, so they definitely could have spliced some words in there or went to somebody else.
Especially if it's like a J cut or an L cut, like you it's footage of the person, but
Yeah.
like their voice is coming from somewhere else, and you're like, we don't know
That's off screen.
what sentence that was taken
They
from.
could have mashed that together. That could have been said 2 hours before the first part of that phrase.
Yep.
And it's important to understand that, especially nowadays.
Yeah. On the
Yes,
topic of AI.
yes.
Yeah. It's not always easy to tell what's actually real in front of you anymore.
Well, and the other thing that they would do too is like any money that you made based on the film or based on the TV show, the reality show, they were entitled to it.
Wait.
Oh.
And they did it in a very broad sense. So, like, essentially, if you got, done making your reality show, you go back, you couldn't find a job, you start working for McDonald's. They're like, oh, you were on that reality show, right? Yeah, I was, okay, great, we'll hire you. They could take all of your money from that. I mean, technically in a very expansive reading of the contract.
Oh.
But because it wasn't specifically spelled out like that, why would you ever leave yourself open to that risk?
Exactly. I mean, it's terrifying. And then once, they knew we were lawyers, by the way.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, well, this is a standard contract. They always say that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, we
just-
don't care. We're lawyers.
Own all my money forever like an indentured servant?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I've seen it. I know the guy who was married to the gal who had all the babies, like the Octomom.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
I remember that show.
I don't even know. No, it was the one with she was married and they had I can't even remember now. It wasn't the Octomom.
Okay, but it was some other very similar reality show where they also focused on how many babies can one person have.
Exactly.
Septimom. I don't know how to do. What's 9? Novamom.
Nova Mom.
The sequel to Octomom.
So he wrote a book and they were like, thanks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's all their
And I
money?
don't know if they ended up taking all of the profits. But I know it was
Dang.
a lawsuit. It
Well,
was
yeah,
a
but
big deal.
if you're that popular and then you have a media personality and it's like, no, we actually own. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's
It was
nuts.
upsetting. So there's lots and lots of pitfalls.
But there's a lot.
Yeah.
So don't
Okay.
be too aggressive out there because just because you make it in something that ends up being popular doesn't mean that you'll get rich off of it, essentially.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's one other thing I wanted to mention that
Or,
is just
or
like,
talk to a lawyer.
yeah, exactly. Talk to a lawyer before you sign something if it seems like it's going to be that invasive because
Yeah.
it might not be worth it. And maybe they'll change the contract if they want you that badly.
Exactly.
Yeah. You reminded me
You
of
have to weigh that, right?
You reminded me of Hollywood accounting. And I had to look up like one of the best examples of Hollywood accounting, and that's David Prose, who was Darth Vader in the original Star Wars trilogy.
I've
like,
heard about this.
yeah, he basically didn't make any back end money on any of the Star Wars films because technically the Star Wars original trilogy was a net loser. So he signed on for net profits instead of gross profits.
Oh.
And so the poor guy didn't get any points on the back end because in Hollywood, what they can do is they can make another shell corporation and then bill the studio will bill the film endlessly to make it look like it's just always hemorrhaging cash, even if it gets billions of dollars in sales.
And a lot of successful businesses do that. That also happens a lot in my divorce cases.
Oh,
I own my own business, but I mean, it's the same thing. It's shocking what they can do.
yeah.
Back on that.
So if you get a contract where it's net and you're excited about it because you think that this film might go somewhere, just be careful. It might not mean
There's
any money
a
for
lot
you.
of expenses.
There's so many expenses.
So many expenses.
All I'm hearing right now is that we really should have talked to Ellen before we started this business.
Uh-oh. These microphones were about $4,000 a piece.
Sure they were.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what you're billing Indie Film Podcast to use to rent them.
Yeah, just a rental.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
That's
course.
the 4,000.
Okay.
It's a rental per day. I mean,
Okay.
yes, you could buy 10 of them, but it's just more convenient to rent it since it's in the location.
It's all about convenience.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a little bit more.
It's
You know,
you're
it's a
gonna pay
risk you
for
run.
It. Yep. Are you buying salsa or are you buying veggies? You know, you pay for the convenience.
So you were talking before we started recording, Ellen, about Double Jeopardy, which is a movie from the 90s that I thought was kind of funny because anytime I used to watch films as a kid, or even still today, it's like, was the writing accurate? Did they actually cover the movie and do what would happen in reality? And then the film Double Jeopardy is a famous example where they get all the legalities incorrect.
They do, but I love the idea of it. It's sort of glorious. So that's a 1999 film starring Ashley Judd and Tommy Lee Jones. And I really loved it. I did. And I was, 99. Yeah, it was my third year in law school. And I remember watching it and it was like Double Jeopardy. It's a situation where Ashley Judd got set up her husband, they're spoilers. Sorry.
It's from 99. If you haven't watched it yet, this is not going to be what ruins it for you. I hope it actually inspires you to watch the film because it's a fun one. It's a fun ride.
It's a good film. And so what happened then is she got charged and convicted with murder of her husband, but really he had faked his own death. It was this whole thing. And then he went on to change his identity, live with his, mistress and raise their child. And then later, she tries to escape because she has to get back to her kiddo. And Tommy Lee Jones eventually helps her. And there's a situation where she ends up having to shoot her husband again. It's really in self-defense. But he's like...
As a lawyer would say, yes.
Yeah, But he's like, oh, you're going to get in so much trouble if you kill me. And she's like, no, actually, double jeopardy. And I'm not going to get charged because I've already served time for you. Which turned out to be not right.
It's not how it works.
So if you get charged for killing someone because they fake their own death and then you find out that they're actually alive and you served that time already, you can, if you kill them again, quote unquote again, then you could still get time for it.
Yes.
Okay.
And the problem with it is that it is different crimes, technically.
Okay.
So the proper thing to do would be, going back and absolving her of the first one.
Yeah.
And then charging her with the second one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really?
That's way more boring.
It is
Yeah, that's not an exciting movie.
And it's aggressive. And I figure self-defense will get her off on the second one. I'd take that one to jury trial every time. So
Right on.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
then,
but I do have one question, though.
Yeah.
Is there any world where that happens and you serve time, maybe it wasn't like a murder conviction, maybe it was like manslaughter, something where there's an end date on your sentence. You serve the full sentence.
Yeah.
And then you find out they're alive. You do kill them, perhaps in like self-defense or something like that. Is there any world where they would vacate or dismiss the previous charges, but then if they convict you for the new one, could they go with time served? Like you technically already served like 10, 15 years for this.
I do love that. And it's very nuanced.
I don't know if that would work.
I feel like as a defense attorney, that would be my number one argument.
Right? Like they already served
it's
15 years.
Oh my gosh, and you get, they'd probably have filed a civil suit in between there. This guy had like millions of dollars. It's just so complex.
There's a lot to process.
Especially if he's rich. There's going to be so many things to unpack.
Yeah.
Well, then what is a good double jeopardy example? Where you can't, not that I'm saying that you should be telling anyone how to like be able to commit a crime and then get away with another one.
It's tricky, but so double jeopardy attaches when you start the jury trial. So once the jury is impaneled, that is the start of double jeopardy. So it just have to be very almost identical. So you couldn't. A lot of times where there's the statute of limitations, someone gets an example would be someone gets charged with like a drug offense.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, the cop is not able to testify or the lead witness is not able to testify. You started the jury trial. The prosecution can't find them. That's when double jeopardy attaches.
So you can just go do all the drugs? That's when you can go do all the drugs.
You can sell all the drugs. But essentially, it would have to be if they couldn't prove their case. That's why they murder witnesses.
Oh.
That's what I was going to ask. I was like, so what you're saying is we just need to kidnap the witness because witness tampering is also a very serious offense.
It is. But that is why, like in these mob shows and like that's why they do it, because once you get charged, you start the jury trial, the jury's impaneled, you start the things, they can't find the witness.
Yeah.
They have to dismiss because they don't have enough evidence against you.
And then you can't be charged again for that.
You can be charged, and you should be charged with doing anything to witnesses.
Okay.
And so then, it's just as bad. But that's why the mobsters would go after the witnesses.
Okay.
Because they couldn't recharge it because of double jeopardy.
Okay. I learned now how that works.
You didn't know that.
I didn't understand.
That's hard to believe.
I didn't quite understand double jeopardy. I thought it was just like the categories changed and then the dollar values doubled. That was a bad joke. I'm really sorry, everybody.
I did see that on The Office. They're like, you don't understand how double jeopardy applies. And he's like, I'm sorry. What is? It's like, no.
Jeopardy's different.
Different. Yep.
Very cool.
Form of a question, please.
So do you have any examples? I kind of want to talk a little bit about how you have basically two professional careers, right? And a lot of us that are doing indie filmmaking have to balance. And I would imagine that you have two very demanding work.
I don't know. I feel like I
situations.
know a lot of attorneys that are like, I just have so much free time. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yes. And it is remarkably challenging, but I think balance is the wrong word anymore.
Okay.
Like they always talk about, life-work balance. It's not a balance. It's always extremely disproportional. So when I'm working on acting, if I have a film or if I have something that I'm working on, my entire being, my whole head, all of it is in that.
Okay.
And so it's more about like shifting. And then same with the legal work. When I'm doing a trial, when I'm preparing for hearings, it's like I have to be 100% that way. And so it doesn't really balance, but somehow it kind of seems to work out. I don't know how the universe like balances itself, but a lot of times I'm able to like really switch focuses, and especially in the type of law I do, which is personal injury law. You're able to sort of manage your calendar a little bit.
Okay.
And I also have amazing law partners who are just, remarkable at their jobs. And so I'm like, hey, I got cast in a feature film. And they're like, okay. And they know they're so sweet. They just like, they back me up and
Okay. So there's the attorney work is like more of an ebb and flow, probably like all of a sudden the fire hose just like is like on full bore. And then you can wait for it to like slow down to a trickle and be like, now I'm going to go act in this thing for a couple weekends.
Yeah, except for you don't really get to wait because both things kind of strike when they strike.
Oh.
If I had, because, it's like you audition and it's like, oh, you got cast, we're filming next week for like 10 days. And it's like, oh, okay. I have one hearing, So, because usually you don't really get a plan when you get the acting gigs.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
It'd be nice if you could.
Oh my gosh, right?
But you just don't get that much notice on it.
Yeah.
It's the state of the... But you also, I almost feel like that's another area of maybe flexibility and overlap because you don't always get a lot of say in when court hearing dates and trial dates are going to be either. You're kind of at the mercy of the entire court system.
The nice part is they do personal injury. You don't have a ton of motion practice. So you're doing, because there are car wrecks, there's things like that. So you're doing like maybe, summary judgment, maybe one other motion, and then you wait for trial. And so you do have some control over your trial practice. But right now, in Ada County, we're looking at a year and a half out.
Oh, dang.
So it's like you can schedule that, but it's that far in advance. And then you kind of know that too with the acting career. It's like, okay, I know that I have trial on this particular date. Mm-hmm. So I can try and avoid that as much as best you can. But
yeah. I just
Okay.
imagine like one of those sitcoms where you're just like running in and you have like your lawyer suit on and then you're asking everybody to start filming like outside the courtroom.
Oh my gosh.
Like, can we move locations and then go like do like a couple scenes and then run in back to the trial and then
we have seen your office. We've used your office as a set before.
Yes,
several times.
Like my actual office right now, I have like lights on the sides and I have like microphone and like tripods and I have a desk that you can raise and lower now. And so it's funny. So I'm doing like lawyer work and I'm like, oh crap, I have to do this audition. I like push everything back, flip it around, get my lights set up, do an audition, get back. I'm like, oh, I have a hearing now. I have to like.
I need to focus in.
It is kind of weird.
Right on.
Well,
you did give
brilliant though.
You did give me some ideas if I'm ever having a hard time figuring out the balance between the creative and the actual just like grunt work. I know now how to escape with Matthews through Double Jeopardy.
Yes,
so
Double Jeopardy.
I could just take a month off from
covers
sleeping.
everything.
Just month off, no sleep, get everything done.
There has been lots of no sleep nights, but really, that's only probably 1 or 2 a month at this time. So
well, that's good. Yeah, that's good. But also, you can sleep too. You're allowed to do that. Yeah that's okay.
Eating, sleeping,
the little things.
I have another question for you because you've obviously informed us on how being a lawyer has helped you with contracts in your pursuit of acting. But how has your pursuit of acting helped your legal pursuits? Do you have examples of that?
I do, actually. There's, it gets me. The cool thing is I have this really awesome acting class that I'm in. And part of my acting class is it's really connecting with your emotions. Right.
Yeah.
And as a lawyer, you'd be like, why do you want to do that? But the reality is
that one is a stereotype.
Right?
That's
it totally
fair.
is.
That's fair.
My husband was down in Las Vegas training all week. And guess what they did? They spent most of the time visualizing, learning how to connect with their case, learning how to connect with the emotions of their witnesses.
Ooh.
Because, the truth of the matter is, all being a lawyer is about storytelling, especially a litigator.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we get in there and we tell our clients stories.
Yeah.
You know? And you can't do that from a place of, robot. You just can't.
You could, but it would maybe not connect with a jury nearly as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And so being able to, and it's not even acting skills as much as it is, it is my training.
Yeah.
But being able to get to a point where you're like, this is my client, but this is also like a real human who has had to, endure all of this.
Yeah.
And they're not talking, right? Because I'm their advocate. And so being in a courtroom and really being able to talk to a jury and tell them, hey, this is what my client went through.
Yeah.
From beginning to end. And this is the trauma they went through. This is, what they experienced. To really be able to convey that, I think, that is probably my best explanation on how that is. It just helps me connect with not only my client, but then with the jury too, and kind of be that conduit. That's important, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's really cool. And it's kind of nice to hear
I'm
somebody.
passionate, can you tell?
Yeah. Well, that's
a good
I'm
thing,
listening
'cause-
to you speak, and I'm like, now I feel guilty about all those like lawyer jokes when I was growing up
Exactly.
in
I
high
like
school
lawyer jokes.
and
They're the
college.
Well, no, because what's the one, like, California has all the nuclear reactors, but New York has all the lawyers. Why?
I don't know that one.
Oh, because California got to pick first. Just, but no, I don't know. Also, I think there are plenty of lawyers in California. There are plenty of lawyers everywhere. But it's really nice that, one, you've seen that as a really empowering and creative way to take more ownership and more pride in your day-to-day work.
Yeah.
But then it's also kind of cool to hear that there are now national trainings where they're also encouraging something similar, where maybe we've given lawyers a bad rap over the years, and maybe we do need to just kind of let everyone acknowledge that, hey, they're people too. Yes, they're doing a great job and they're representing their clients with zeal, and this is amazing. But also, they are humans. Let's not be mean.
Well, yeah. And it took me forever to embrace the personal injury realm of lawyering. Honestly, because I was like, I want to help people. I'm not, no offense to all you personal injury attorneys, but like, it's not about money for me. It's just not. It's about helping people and really going through the stuff with them and being alongside of them. And so I did criminal law. I did, whether it was a prosecution where I was helping the victim, or whether it was defense where I was, helping the people who were charged. Either they didn't do it, or, just helping them like maneuver the system.
Unjust or situational problems,
exactly.
or lack of knowledge about the law itself.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And then personal injury, I'm like, yeah, that's all about money. But it turns out I finally got convinced when it was like, you know what? These people are hurt.
Yeah.
And the insurance companies are like, oh, that's cute. Here's $400. Go and get yourself, a nice soda or whatever. That's right. And so
A leg brace you can wear for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Covered, right?
No,
And
insurance companies are
did
bad.
That meant so much to me. And then I'm like, okay, I can embrace this. I can do this.
Yeah.
But don't ask me just to like go after the money. That's gross to me. I just don't do it.
Well, obviously
So-
you're in indie filmmaking, so you're not after the money.
No. I was like, I don't know if there's anything about any of your career choices that say you're in this for the money.
No, I don't know what I'm thinking. I really don't.
That's great. And I like the fact that the acting is informing your profession. And I do feel like if any of you out there are on the filmmaking end, working in the crew behind the camera, it is good practice to learn how to present. Learn some of those acting skills, because I would imagine it helps leadership roles a great deal. And also helps you direct the people that you're trying to direct that are on the opposite end of the camera when you're trying to shoot your films, to understand some of that stuff. Empathy. Who knew? It's so valuable.
I don't think there's enough of it in this world. I think we need a little more. I'm glad to hear people are coming around on that front.
Even lawyers.
Even lawyers. I love it.
We're really just, dead inside most of the time.
No, they're not.
According to the jokes, they are the funniest
According
ones.
to the horrible
The
jokes.
funniest ones.
Yes.
Funniest ones.
But-
All right. Well, on that note, do we have anything else to add, or?
I don't think so, because we talked about the newsletter at the beginning this time.
Yes. Make sure you
I'm-
sign up. IndieFilmPodcast.com. So,
But Ellen, anything that you want to add?
Oh my goodness, I don't think so. But we did talk about a little bit earlier about Netflix, the Black Mirror.
Black Mirror. Actually, this is a really good
Oh,
example
yes.
and does kind of tie nicely back to some of the AI threats.
Yes.
So would you mind telling us a little bit about your
No,
favorite?
It is.
episode?
Joan is Awful is
Yeah.
my favorite episode. I've watched it so many times.
okay.
And I love Annie Murphy. I mean, she's
Who doesn't?
one of my favorites. But just being able to see, it's just such a perfect example of how, the acting field and making movies and making money in that respects comes together with the legal aspects of it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty fascinating. And I mean, really, it's kind of mind-blowing in a lot of ways. And I just really enjoy it.
So if you like
So-
Black Mirror, that's one that kind of covers what we might be looking at in the future if people aren't very careful about the image releases that they're signing.
Absolutely.
If you sign an image release for throughout the usage throughout the universe in
in
perpetuity.
perpetuity throughout the universe.
There it is.
It's
I said it
very
backwards. It sounds wonderful.
it's kind of beautiful
and
language.
Hey, we're looking at colonizing Mars now, so it's gonna be applicable before
And that was
you know
always the front of my mind when I'm looking at those releases. I'm like, it could be Mars. I didn't consider AI. I just was like, the universe.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Okay, so the recommended watching for everyone is Joan is Awful, episode of Black Mirror. Because if you aren't afraid of signing some of those contracts as an actor, don't worry, you will be after you watch that episode.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, on that note, shall we end with a succinct goodbye?
Sounds wonderful.
Excellent. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.